Welcome everyone. Today we have another new episode, and this episode is very important, especially for women empowerment. And we have all of our panelists from different countries. We have Ali Rice from UK, Tina from India, Brenda from South Africa, Dr. Soha from France, Dr. Sharita from India, Don DC Simon from what should I say? I should say
USA.
Bangladesh, USA. Okay, and
Can you hear me?
yeah, Valerie from USA. Okay, so uh, welcome everyone. I just want to start because today is a
Can
big
hear
day for
you?
women empowerment, and I want to start from Ali Rice. That how you want to introduce these issues,
Oh, that you
what you are
can't
doing right now, how do you
hear me. Okay.
celebrate
Morning,
about gender
everybody. It's my
inequality?
morning. I don't know what time it is for you all.
Yes, I want to start from Ali. Can you hear me? Ali, can you hear me? Okay, then Tina.
Right. So it's really good to be here talking with so many different women from different parts of the world. And I am from a city called Bombay, which is now known as Mumbai. And
I can't
it's quite an
hear
exciting city,
Sharif. What is
actually.
going on?
Yet there
Let
is a
me
lot to
try
do in
my
terms of
volume here.
female empowerment. Although the word is used rather heavily, the women empowerment, because we do not
I can
truly get
now if
them
I put
across.
my headphones on. Gee, I hear you fine.
Can you hear
Valerie,
me?
yes. Can you give chance to Tina? I will come back to you. Sorry, Tina, please.
Yeah. So the whole idea of women empowerment as a separate topic saddens me because we feel as a society that women need to be empowered. So, that by itself to me is that it's a challenging path for all of us, right? Especially with someone like me who's been working. I've been working since I was 18 in the entertainment industry. So, uh, for me, it's like I've seen so much of the real, underbelly of women empowerment, so to speak, that I think that we need to acknowledge that. Yes, we are in a position where we need to empower women and we need to have a special day for them. So, we come together and discuss. But at the end of the day, a woman is super strong. Just giving birth, I mean, forget the experience if she does not want to be a mom. I'm a mother and I labored for 17 hours. So I will tell you that having a baby is like having 54 fractures in one go. So it's really not that women are weak and they need to be empowered, but women have been kept weak and kept disenfranchised and on the peripherals of society. I watched a very interesting video today where a bunch of people from India, they were being asked certain questions. So if you say yes, you walk one step. So they began to ask questions like, have you ever cooked lunch for yourself? Or have you ever, taken a decision by yourself? And at the end of it all, it came down to the women not having any idea about how to handle money or how to, it was shocking, really, the video. They did something like that about white supremacy and white privilege, and they managed to do that same thing for men and women. The divisiveness of society is very, very, it's prevalent. So we need to address it together, and we need to understand that women don't need to be, empowered, so to speak, but we need to give them an equal platform. We need to give women education. And I don't mean rural women, I mean urban women like me who have been lucky. But rural women need to be given a chance because you don't know what we are missing because so many people are not being educated. And I've also worked with social service. So, it's something, it's a huge task ahead of us. So that's my two bit to introduce the subject, that it is a sensitive one, of course, because women need to be empowered in a society where women are the mothers, we wouldn't be here, none of us, if it wasn't for women. So that's a little bit that I want to introduce with. Please continue the discussion.
Mhm, mhm. Thank you, thank you. We have our another panelist, Dr. Sharita Sharma. So can you please introduce these issues? Even we have our new guest from Canada, Viva, already joined in our panelist. So we will discuss more about women and women empowerments. Yeah.
Thank you, Sharif. So, as usual, it's a pleasure to be here, and especially on this big day with all these awesome, brilliant minds and beautiful women out here. I'm privileged to be on board. So, yes, as I was listening to Tina Hills talk about empowerment and how the privileged ones that we need to think about women who are underprivileged and all. Yes, I completely agree to what she says. And what I'd like to add here is that now no one is going to do anything to us, anything for us. They're not going to come and tell us that, okay, fine, come get your education done. Oh, you don't have financial independence. Okay, fine, come, I'm going to help you to be financially independent. Now we have to stop looking at others for the means to empower ourselves. I think it's high time, as the theme for this year's Women's Day says, choose to challenge. I think it's high time we started taking up the challenge upon ourselves to empower not only the one particular self that is I, but also some others along with the I that is me. So I think it's high time. And this morning, I got a gif from someone where one woman was pulling up another one, and how when she pulls the other woman up on a level with her, she herself raises as well. So I think that's how it should be. That's how the spirit of womanhood should be. And now we stop looking at men or stop looking at others to empower us. We start doing that right in our homes. Right in our homes. And someone was asking me today as to why we have this celebration only once in a year. And that kept me thinking until I came to the conclusion that, special occasions come once in a while. Birthdays come once in a year. New Year comes once in a year. But that is a time period, 365 days given to us from this Women's Day to the next Women's Day. We have 365 days to better ourselves as women, to choose to challenge that which has kept us away from mainstream for such a long time. And 365 days I have got starting from today, starting from now. So if I choose to challenge, I will definitely become a better version of myself in the coming year. And next year, when I talk about women's issues, hopefully we will have less to talk about and more to celebrate. So on
Mhm.
this note, I move on. Yes,
Thank you,
on to the next.
thank you, thank you. Dr. Shoha.
Hello, hello again.
Hello.
To be honest, myself, I believe that we have 365 days Women's Day, and 365 days Men's Day, and 365 Transgender Day, whatever you want. Because I'm talking from my human rights position. I'm a professor as well in human rights, and I feel that human rights cannot be separated, cannot be divided. Humans are humans, whether they are men or women or transgender or whoever. Everybody should be treated equally. So that's why Women's Day, I cannot accept it without the presence of a man, because we
Mhm,
need to discuss all together. It's a
mhm,
must. It's a must. We cannot have this extremism. Some women, they are becoming extremist, and it's not good. We are trying to avoid extremism, and we need to work on a human rights basis, that everybody has the right to be a human being, as simple as that. And also, I
mhm,
want to add something, that education is very important from day one of the kid, of the child, because the first 3 years are the most important in a human being life. and we need to educate the kids to understand that everybody has his respects in this life. Everybody should be respected. Everybody should be listened to, because it's important. If we don't listen to the others, forget it, which means we are not human here. Sorry, but I'm upset of what's happening nowadays, that nobody is tolerant, nobody is accepting other people's view. We have to be tolerant, we have to be understand each other's. It's important. It's point one. I have been in education for the past 30 years. I had 140 nationalities of students. They are all sweethearts. They are all, we were discussing in class. We were understanding each other. Why don't we do it later after this classroom? You see, so this is very important for me. I want to keep also others to talk, and we can discuss, and I'm open to every suggestion, and I am open and I accept other points of view. That's very important. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Professor Soha Akeke, for your valuable time and support for World Talent Economy Forum. So, Brenda, how do you want to introduce your point, especially for women empowerment?
Again, thanks, Sharif, for the opportunity to be here today. I think I agree with the previous speakers in that, honestly, we do not have to wait for a single day in a year to start talking about an important issue like equality. And, a very important point was brought out by Dr. Shoha to say it is humanity first. Forget the genders, because as soon as we have men and women and girls and boys, that's when we start seeing this difference. We are human first. We want what's better for all humanity. If that is the case, it means we need to do what's better for all humanity. This thing of differentiating between one and the other and having the gap between one and the other is what perpetuates all of these bad things that are happening. So it is high time that we stop talking and start doing. We've been talking about inequalities. We've been talking about violence against women. We've been talking about all of these things for such a long time. But if you look at the things that have been done in order to change the status quo, nothing much has been done. You'll see that 80% of the talking has happened, but only 5% of the work is. So like we do in our business and prioritizing the things that are very important, it is high time that we start putting action plans and saying, if we want to see the change, what does that change look like? And from today onwards to start changing that status, to start changing things. And we need to have these KPIs and say, if we are to achieve it by the end of this year, by March, end of March, this is where we need to be. By end of June, this is where we need to be. If we are not there by the end of June, or if we need to achieve 50% by the end of June, but we get to June and we're still at 30%, something needs to happen. There needs to be consequence management. But we talk about this topic as something very, very serious, but we do nothing to show the seriousness of it. And I'm not only talking about women, and I'm not talking about the men, I'm talking about society. I'm talking about each and every person that sees this as an important issue. Because remember, if we do not take equality for humanity as a serious issue, it will affect us. Women are important in households. They are important in society. They are important in the corporate world. We need all of us. We need men, we need kids, we need women, we need all of these people together. We need that diversity for us to be able to progress. So I think in short, I am saying all of us need to hold hands and we need to start putting action in place to ensure that we achieve what the thing that we want to see in the future.
Thank you, Madam Brenda. DC Simon, how do you want to introduce your point?
Hello, everyone. My name is Dawn Simmons. And this is such a great topic. And ladies, you've done such an excellent job framing up how I would like to represent in addition to what's already been discussed. I really like Dr. Suha's statement about we are all humanity first. I also like the idea, Brenda, that you had to share about it's really time for us to look at this point and next point. We need to hold hands and make sure that we've grown further than we have before. What's really important, yes, we represent humanity. Today, being International Women's Day, I've been working with people that are jobless worldwide since September 11th, 2001. I help all people find jobs. However, I also am founder of the Executive Women's Network on LinkedIn. And today I would like to introduce the topic of gender equity because of its issue and its effect to women. Yes, we are powerful. We have the capabilities of raising our children, single parenting, working full-time, doing what we can to better our community. What are we doing to contribute to the solution of women's equity? And there are some important facts to share with that regards. And that's what I want to talk about a bit today. Within the US, but this is a worldwide issue, within the US, COVID has had an impact on all of humanity. But what has also happened during this time, we've kind of taken a few steps backwards as a world because domestic violence during times of the pandemic has increased, it has not decreased. The impacts of unemployment has affected all people, all industries equally, but women at a higher proportion than men. In the US, men to women represent 51% of the population in the US. 51%, but we are proportionately laid off at a rate of 1 million women over the equal number of men. Women represent 30 companies in our Standard & Poor's executive companies. 30 of 500 companies, that's 6%. In government, women, 51% of the population is women. In government, 23% of women are represented in government. Is it because we're not effective? Or is it because we need to do something more? Our problem with regards to claiming our voice and making that voice make a difference in the world, we need to increase our ability to connect to one another, to support one another, and to use our voice to make a difference. The president of Taiwan is a woman. She's an amazing woman, and she had the lowest rate of COVID impact because of her ability to care for her people, to sense the direction, and to take that. It's an amazing result that she's had. It isn't because she's a woman, it's because she's exceptional and was not afraid to use her voice. Let us find that within ourselves. Let us join with one another and find what it is we do well and what do we need to do better. And how can we work to solve those problems? It does affect, we all deserve life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. And Tina, you talked about women not being good with economic issues. Yeah, we need to be able to manage a boardroom with the same effectiveness as our home. And I think that those are our opportunities. When we come back next year, have we made a difference? Are more women able to create a job, support their families, contribute to their community, and lead the community out of challenges? Let's see. That's, I think, what 1 year, 1 day allows us to do. In 30 years, we haven't moved the dial enough. We can do more. We can do better. What will we do together?
Thank you. Madam Viva, how do you want to introduce this point, specifically women empowerment?
Okay, well, I'm coming from the position of being a female founder in a STEM field, science, technology, engineering, and math. And in that position, I occupy a really low percentile. It's like 1.6% of 1.6%. It's very tiny. And I find that for me to be able to make my way and make progress, one of the things that I have to do is definitely set milestones, achievable milestones and targets. And so I think that if you're going to talk at a collective level, social level with women, that milestones and target setting, which has been alluded to on the panel already, is something that we as women can start doing. It is a better platform, I think, to be able to make the criticisms that do need to be aired. Uh, for example, in STEM fields, there is still a very strong male primacy bias. And so, in order to adequately criticize it, you need to focus on specific issues that are often tied to specific flaws. For example, a flaw that I'll bring up just as an example is the whole area of combustion and engineering is an area that has backfired on humanity in the form of climate change. So, in the male dominated pursuit of providing society with a mechanical advantage, and many of them, many mechanical advantages come from the combustion engine. It has driven great privilege, great recreation in the form of boats and different machines, snowmobiles, all of those things. But collectively, we need to point out to ourselves across all genders that there is a mistake there, that we have to unpack that. So if we do focus on criticism, if it's targeted and focused, and then focused on milestones, I think that that's where you're going to be able to make more progress. And then you take the focus off of you're a man, you're a woman, or I'm a man and you're a woman and I'm being criticized, and all of that tension. If you do issues based um, discussion, it will often lead to airing a lot of the inequalities. Okay, the climate change problem has highlighted a lot of inequality for all of us too. So it just goes to show how productive looking at actual issues can be across all kinds of different levels. And that's really all I want to say at this point.
Thank you. Madam Valerie, can you unmute yourself? Okay, Orpita, can you share your views about women empowerment? Oh, okay. Maybe there is an internet problem. So, Orpita, can you hear me? Orpita, can you hear me? Sorry, I think she has internet problem. Anyway, I just want to share one of the report from World Economic Forum, because for our discussion, I believe that this kind of statistics and information is very important. It's actually at Asset Management Corporation's information, and it's based in USA. And just want to share the ratio of men and women in the industry. It's a financial industry as per World Economic Forums. Like support staff, women 52%, men 48%, marketing and client, women 24, men 76, analyst 16%, and 84% a man, traders 24, men 76, portfolio manager 1189, director of research 1090, CIO 8%, 92%, senior management 8%, 92%. I just want to share one industry information based on World Economy Forum. So what your observation? How do you want to analyze this kind of things? Why this kind of professional contribution, if we think about men and women, like how we can improve the contribution of women? I want to start from Tina.
So, of course, education. Education is the key to everything because we still have, parents not investing in the daughters. Daughters are inherently looked at as a burden. You know, many traditional systems of thought teach that okay, women secondary citizens, right? Women like they're not given the same opportunity as boys in the family. And I've even observed that when it comes to, food, allotment of food and resources, boys tend to take the lion's share. So it's always the women who are taught that, don't make a noise, don't fuss, or don't, raise your voice. I was a person who always raised my voice and who always had a huge point of view, So I was not your traditional kind of girl. So I had my set of problems because of that, because I was quite mouthy, and I would just say what I felt. And ultimately, I think I'm happy for who I've become because of that character trait that I could voice my opinions and I could sort of, carve out my own path. But oftentimes, women are honestly not that lucky. So they are not, my parents gave me the best education that they could. They gave me all the opportunities that they could. But I have observed that this is not the case. In forget rural places like, small, tiny, remote villages, but in main cities, the opportunities that are available for men, the education that is imparted to men is not given to women. In my industry, hardly any women are screenwriters, hardly any women are directors. Yeah, they're actresses, yeah, always the object of a man's adoration. Always, a person to be desired, a being to be desired, like they don't have a relevant voice. So we come from a lot of wounding because it's not just in my country, in every country. And I work with women all over the world. So every country has the same story in some way or the other. Because the minute you're taught that, Eve is from Adam's rib and there's a mortal sin involved, and, as long as concepts like women are secondary citizens, and it's been happening in every major thought, in I am a Hindu Brahmin and I'm not supposed to be a priest. My father is. He gets a thread. I don't.
Mhm.
Does that mean I'm not spiritual or I cannot do the rituals? I'm not. The Hindus believe that the daughter cannot cremate the parents. So inherently, widows are not invited in weddings. So when such systematic, oppressive ideologies exist, how will we, how do we operate from there, right? A widow is considered to be bad luck. Don't come to the wedding.
Mhm.
So can you imagine that? So systematically, we have been oppressed, we have been kept down. Or is it that women never had power? I believe women did have power. In ancient Egypt, in possibly many places around the world, women had real power. But
Mhm.
there was a time when the whole feminine was looked upon as lusty or lustful, or the original sin was thrown in our face because our bodies are meant for pleasure. That is true, but that does not mean that we are all sinful, right? We are human just like you are. So
Mhm.
this kind of it's all well and good to say such things and converse, but we need to tackle a real grassroots tax of this, like really go to ground zero and educate people that it doesn't matter if she's a widow, she's not inauspicious in any way. She's just a human being like you and me.
Mhm.
A woman has a divorce, she's either a cougar or so many names are attached to that. We are labeled. When I chose to work with my baby, I mean, I'm sure people labeled me because I had a baby, and my husband actually looks after my baby, and I actually work. So we have an understanding like that, but I'm lucky enough to have a man who understands that I need to do what I do. So how many are like that?
Mhm.
So men need to give the women that space, that foundation from which to operate. Mothers need to give their daughters equal opportunity. I have only one daughter. And I can tell you one thing, I would not make any difference in her if I had a son. They would
Mhm.
be the same to me. There would be no difference at all. So if all mothers accepted, and mother-in-laws, it's the scariest thing that can ever happen, right? Especially in my country, mother-in-laws are scary. So how are we? We are expected to operate as the best wife, amazing in bed, really pretty to look at. Everybody will lust after her, but she will not touch anybody. She will only be mine. The perfect daughter-in-law, of course, cooks, cleans, comes back at night in the night and gets straight to the kitchen to cook and clean. And the husband is watching a game or something. He said, "Wow, you're home. Oh, wow, roti, paratha, and give me more. I want more." The woman has worked all day, but she's going to come and she's going to cook and she's going to feed her family. And I've had American women, a lot of my clients are American. So it's the same story there. They know the mother in law, but a lot of their men do not help out. I've heard that Swedish men tend to do the most amount of domestic housework. So
Mhm.
I think that's a super attractive component about a man. If he knows how to cook, if he knows how to look after his children, because ultimately we teach our boys that go play with guns. That's cool.
Mhm.
Go play with cars. Don't pick up a doll. No, because you're never going to be a father, right? So don't pick up a doll. Pick up a car, pick up a gun. So we need to change this basic fundamental difference. Nobody should play with a gun. Forget a boy or a girl. So this is what I feel, that the difference has crept up to such a degree that how do we I'm really hopeful the future will change, because I see that the boys
Mhm.
are changing. The boys are changing. They're nothing like what it used to be. Boys, Indian boys are now out there wearing their babies, caring for their babies, feeding their wives when she's perhaps seeing this happen. So I am very hopeful that it's going to take a turn. It's going to change, because my daughter is 7, and I want a world for her which is equal, where every human is treated as a human being. Not because
Mhm.
I'm a woman that, oh my God, either I'm ugly or I'm a dyke or I'm a bitch or I'm short hair, I'm long hair, or I wear this dress, I look beautiful on my cleavage. No, I'm more than that. Just like, I'm not judging you on anything. Men should stop judging women. If a woman wants to wear a burqa, she should be allowed to wear a burqa. That is my brand of feminism. If a woman wants to go topless, she should be allowed to go topless. It's absolutely on her. You and me have nothing to say. So,
Mhm.
this is what I believe, that as parents, we need to start this very young. We
Mhm.
need to teach our children from a
Mhm.
very young age that without a woman, there is no man. And honestly, there is no uterus, then you're not popping out of anything. It's not happening. So we
Mhm.
need to understand the power of the womb.
Yes, yes. So we have our academicians, our teacher, Dr. Soha, Sharita. So we will learn from them how to teach the new generations. Okay, Dr. Sharita.
Yes, I was looking at the data that you presented, and yes, of course, it is a matter of concern that even in this age and time, we are still looking at a disparity which is so huge. It is not even close to being a little less than what men are doing. But yes, as Tina Hills has said, that we need to educate and empower women. We need to start doing that early. But I would like to add here that the narratives are definitely changing. The India of the 80s, when I was growing up, and the India of 2021 is definitely a tad better than what it used to be. Because I think we have more voices coming out now into the open. Common
Mhm.
people like us, common women like us, I think we have already started the movement, the feminist movement in our homes. And whatever one thinks about feminism, for me, feminism is something whereby a woman understands herself, whereby she empowers herself, and not only herself, but others as well. So I think we have already started the silent feminist revolution in our homes in some ways or the other. So as she was talking about more and more men coming out to support the wives, to look after the family. A few years from now, a few years ago, we would not even have imagined a house husband. And now she says that her husband stays at home looking after the family, where she goes out to work. So I think the narrative is changing. Of
Mhm.
course, it needs to change some more,
No,
a
I don't
lot.
go out to work. I work from home, but but I'm busy.
Okay. Okay. So he
Okay.
takes care, or he shares the responsibility, which is his as well. So yes, a lot needs to be still done. But yes, things look hopeful. Uh, I definitely would want to usher before I die. I would like to see a world which is definitely better than what it is in 2021. And I hope in
Mhm.
the coming days, when we look at the data, there will be a less disparity, because we need women at every table out there where decisions are made, where policies are being made. So every table needs to have a woman. It means that we need to have women in the managerial posts, in policy making, decision making posts. We need to see more and more women there. It is not to say that women are not already capable enough to be there, but somewhere we have been disadvantaged. That's the truth. That's the truth. And I would like to believe that we are walking on the right path. And let us
Mhm.
continue doing that. Let us continue making efforts. Let us continue holding hands, as Brenda says. Let us continue raising our voices against anything and everything that matters.
Mhm. Thank you, Dr. Sharita. Dr. Soha Akiki.
Myself, I am more than I confirm, and it's especially education, family, and school.
Mhm.
School alone is not enough. The family should contribute a great deal. Of course, we have multicultural families, especially here in France. We have multicultural families, and each culture, they want something to their children. Of course, they have their aims, their objectives, but I think every family should follow the government's rules of education, because like this, at least everybody is at the same stage. We don't have discrimination that someone is getting more than the other. They have to get the same quality of education. I'm not saying the level, the quality. And myself, I come from. I'm not born in France. I'm born in Lebanon, and you
Mhm.
know the Arab world. They are very patriarchal
Mhm.
societies, huh? But to be honest, I never felt I was discriminated.
Mhm.
And also, to be honest, if someone is telling me they are hiring me because I am a woman, it will hurt me in my ego. It means I'm not competent. I am first competent and after a woman, I believe, because I hate when they said, "Well, because you're a woman." No, no, that's not an issue. It's an issue. It's a big issue because we are competent, and my students. If I tell you, I had women and men and my girls were really outstanding. They were working. They were serious. They were giving really the best output. Sometimes the men, they think, especially from patriarchal societies, I will get my father's business, or I will get a job anyway, and or whatever. But the women, they are giving even double efforts to arrive. No problem, let's do it. But don't tell me that you are going to hire me because I'm a woman. You are
Mhm,
hiring me because I'm competent. I have the
mhm,
competence, I have the background. What is it? That's it. That's what I want. Because really, it hurts me. Maybe I'm egocentric, but it hurts. It hurts. It means I'm not competent, which is not true. Yeah. And I was never discriminated. I had, I was the director of a university in France, and we had a university in Spain, in UK, in Switzerland, and all the heads were women. All the
mhm,
heads were women, and the president was a man, but because he was the owner,
mhm,
so he was the president. But really, he never uh, discriminate whether there is a man or woman. And the university was working really very good. So after I quit and to open my own university here in Paris, and that's how it happened. And to be honest, I'm working with everybody. I don't
mhm,
care whether she's a woman or he's a man. If he's competent, he's welcome or she's welcome. That's it.
mhm,
That's how we should put in our mind. That's
mhm,
how we have to format people
mhm.
from the beginning, that they are all human, and competency is before gender, or before, regardless to who you are. Competence when you want to do the work. That's it.
Mhm. Thank you, Dr. Shoha Akiki, for your very good advice and strategy. Uh, Madam Brenda.
I am loving the conversation, and all of this contribution, because I can relate so much to this. I mean, as an African woman, what Tina was saying earlier on, I'm sitting here thinking, you know what? Are you sure you are not in Africa? Because I mean, there's so much of that is happening here, and is seen as the norm. Dr. Soha was talking about how we need to change it from the top and have laws that ensures that there's no discrimination between women and men. We've got that in South Africa. As a matter of fact, in South Africa, we even have a law that forces companies to hire women to have representation in the boardroom. We have procurement laws that says if you have a woman that's leading your organization, you will have more procurement points. In other words, you'll be more preferred than the company that's run by a man. And you're looking at it and it looks so good. But in practice, it's a totally different story. And that's where the problem is. So you can take that girl child to school. They will have the degree, they'll have they will have all that you need. They come to apply for a job, a guy will have a bachelor's degree only. He will still get the job. He will still get the position that's better than a woman. They will still get paid better than a woman. So to me, it says that there is much more than our competence that's being questioned here. When you look at those stats, I mean, they're very telling. Where you see an almost balance is where it's soft jobs or so-called soft jobs, because I don't believe there's any soft job. There's, the so-called, your HR, your receptionist, that's where you find a lot of women. But where you see senior leadership, directors and all of that, it's all men. And I'm sitting here thinking, what is it that they've got that we don't have? It is 2021, for crying out loud. We no longer need the physique, the strength that the men used to have, and that was used as a criteria to say this one becomes a leader. You, because you are feminine and you do not have the physical strength, you cannot go out in the world and go hunting. You therefore need to stay at home and make the home. That was back in the old age. In this day and age, it's about what you can deliver. It's about your competence. And I think we can be, or we are as competent as men. There is nothing stopping me from running a cultural or multi-million company. And there is nothing stopping a man from taking care of the home. I cannot be going to work and coming back to find somebody sitting on the couch and having to cook and having to do that. I mean, we have been doing that, don't get me wrong, but that simply shows we are the superwoman that they're talking about. So it means if we can do that, if I can take care of the home, take care of the boardroom, and then still be sane, it means then I can run the country as well. So it means I am that strong. It means then I deserve to be in that leadership position. So why not give it to me? So all I'm saying is that let's not be biased.
Competence. How will competence come if you don't give them equal opportunities? It's all right to say that.
So what?
But presumably that doesn't happen to everybody in the world. You know that. Even in Arab worlds, it doesn't usually happen. You were lucky to not be discriminated. But that is the story. And how will competence even come into question? That's a very much later stage when everybody's had the equal education. Everybody's had equal chances. You can talk about competence. But when a child is not educated because she's a girl, I don't think we can bring up competence.
Then it becomes an issue. So I think what I'm basically saying is that we all can do it. We need to all be given the opportunity to showcase our talents, and we all need to be treated the same way. We need to be compensated the same way. We need the same recognition. But at the same time, given the history, given where we are and where we come from, we need to recognize that, yes, there are disparities, and we need to intentionally go in and change these laws, change how things work. If I'm a woman and I'm given that opportunity, I'm sitting in that boardroom, I shouldn't just be happy that now I'm sitting there, I'm looking all good among all men. No. I am there representing all the other women that are aspiring to be in that position. I shouldn't just sit there. I need to make sure that the voice of women is heard in that boardroom. Even if it means I become an outcast in that boardroom, I need to make sure that that voice is heard. Because if not me, if that voice is silenced, it means the 1,000 or the million voices that are out there of women that don't get the opportunity to be in that boardroom are not going to be heard. Before COVID or before this era, we used to say, but women are at home taking care of the kids because the men are out there working. Let's say that's the case. Right now, access to information is abundant. I am sitting at home right now, but I'm speaking to you sitting in America, in France, in India. Women can still do it while they're at home. There's no excuse anymore. Access is there. We need to use it. We need to enable these women to do. Let's give them the tools. Let's give us the confidence that we need to be able to forge ahead. Let's not hide behind they don't have access. There are no men in the household. That it is just excuses. We need to start really acknowledging the fact that we have been unfair to women, and we need to start holding their hands, because some of them honestly need their hands to be held because they do not have the experience, they have not been given the platform to do these things. Let's support each other as women, but men, please, you need to support women as well. These are your mothers. These are your sisters. These are your the people that are gonna ensure that the next generation exists. These are the people that nurture the nation. In South Africa, we got a saying that say a woman is imbogoto, meaning they are a rock. A rock is a foundation. A rock is that thing that you lean on. So without that, where are we going? What exactly are we doing if we are not really supporting the foundation that we need for humanity to prosper?
Mhm. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Brenda.
Can I say something?
Yes, yes,
Today,
definitely.
this morning, I was on a webinar, and a lady from Tunisia, she told us that really women and children during these lockdowns in Arab world and in Africa, because she's from Tunisia, and she said they were really deprived from digital mean tools. They were deprived from education, and it was really a catastrophe for them. I don't know, and we were really very concerned with this.
Thank you. We have our expert from Silicon Valley, Madam DC Simon. So, how do you want to analyze this point? Yes.
Well, it's a very good point, and oh my goodness, what a great discussion. I really liked, Sarita, when you were talking about we need to speak on anything and everything where we can make a difference. Dr. Soha, you're so right. This is a problem. Access to internet is access to information, it's access to education, it's access to opportunity. It is a problem, and we can do and have done much. Here in the Valley, we had to. When COVID happened, students had to start taking classes from home, but their family did not have internet here in Silicon Valley. They did not have money for laptops and everything like that. There were thousands, hundreds of thousands of people affected by this across the nation. Company ServiceNow did an amazing thing with technology. What they did is they improved their asset management process. They would identify idle assets like laptops that students needed, recycle them, and give those assets that normally would be disposed of a new life that educated children, that built up families, and allowed those children access to the education that they needed and should not have been denied simply for lack of money. I find it amazing that it was 17-year-old Malala that spoke and fought for women's rights and education of women around the world. 17-year-old, she made the difference. Why can't we? My mom used to tell me, and like you, Tina, I was very outspoken, always have been, always will be. My mom used to tell me, I hope you have a daughter, and I hope she's just like you. And my mom and dad did well with me because they did teach me to use my voice. They said, if somebody's suffering, it's your job to do something. And they were an example of that, both of them. I didn't grow up thinking about gender inequity. I lived it. I lived it once I joined the workforce. I work in IT, who's a male-dominated field. It was male-dominated, and I am an advocate for best practices in industry. What can we do that makes more efficient business? I saved the company I was working for $32 million by doing just that. What are we doing wrong, and what can we do better? So when it came down to best practices, I was a guest speaker for Help Desk Institute International. And a group of people from Asia would visit the United States. They would tour our number of different operations, and they would visit guest speakers in the industry. I was an invited speaker for that for several years. The first year I spoke for this Asian Help Desk Institute organization, I was told, you really should have an interpreter that speaks your presentation for you because you're a woman. I refused, and I said, if you're asking me to speak, it is my voice. You can have an interpreter to translate my language into kanji, into language, but you cannot have somebody speak my words, my thoughts, my presentation. If I'm speaking, I'm speaking. That was the first year. By the third year, an entirely male audience had been replaced by 8 women joined the audience. I like to think if we are good at what we're doing and we're lifting up others, encouraging them to take their place, we're doing the right thing. The problem is, as women, we are caregivers, and we're very good at that. And the stories we read in our childhood was the oppressed female that had to ride to a ball in a pumpkin and be saved by a prince wearing our own glass slippers that were going away, by the way, at the end of the night. Our dreams were all tied to the handsome prince that was going to save our life. And maybe it is time for us to change that story and become the people that we already are. We are powerful women, capable of our voices. What can we do if we stop listening to that oppression and we start looking for what can we do? The thing that helped me most in IT, I really related, Viva, when you were talking about the STEM industry, because IT is touching on the same type of talent base and same challenges as well. I don't regularly think about the difference of women getting paid 86 cents on a dollar, that women get paid less than men for doing exactly the same job. I try not to think about that because it makes me crazy. Instead, am I getting paid enough? Can I support my family well? I like the idea that we've reached a place in our world where men and women are equal participants. I would never go into a marriage otherwise, where both of us are raising a family and contributing towards our better future. That's what life should be about. However, I have experienced what it's like. I was married into a Bengali love of my life, and our marriage ended because of my career. Because they figured they figured that if a woman of my type could actually earn as much money as I was in my industry, surely their son would be able to make hundreds of millions of dollars, and they'd be all well. We need to be focused on what do we do best and uplifting each other. Marriage is not a competition. Gender is not a competition. But as Dr. Soha said, I do not want to be hired. I don't even want to be interviewed just because I'm a woman. I want you to look at the competency, the quality of my skills, and make a decision on, can I solve this problem and can I make the situation better? That's what I want you to hire me for. However, if you're hiring me for that, pay me as much as you would my male counterparts. That is a problem, and it hasn't changed enough in 30 years. We need to fix that.
Thank you, Madam DC Simon. Madam Viva.
Well, I call that the token female paradox when that happens. I've had it happen quite a lot, and I've had the other extreme of being read as having no substance on the basis of being a female. And ultimately, my philosophy has developed where I just look at it as a karmic issue and go back to holding some kind of a middle ground that has basis in teachings that don't focus on gender. And if I see a way to work harder, I will find a workaround. And this is another opportunity. We can all, as women, conspire to work around what seems to be a bit of a wall and a bit of a male domination conspiracy. And it's not there because they're planning it. It's because there is a space that just occurs. It's a natural polarity between the feminine and the masculine, and it's just one of these spaces that has arisen and become a phenomenon. So I think that if we allow women to understand that their personal journeys are completely valid, that it will encourage them to conduct themselves in a way that will discourage and remove that space that seems to happen with the male culture, if you want. It looks like culture. That's probably not the word for it, but it is a phenomenon, and we do need to address it as logically as possible for the sake of the younger women and the progress we've already made.
Thank you. Valerie, can you hear me? Valerie, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can
Yes.
hear you just
Yes.
fine.
Can you share your views? Yeah.
So, well, I'm not I'm not an academic like most of you are. First of all, I want to just say thank you so much for inviting me. and that I'm very touched by being on this with you. Not exactly sure why I'm tearing up, but I'm just very touched. I feel like I know some of you, and I'm really glad to meet those of you who I don't know already. I'm a clinical social worker, so I'm coming from my experience with my clients. And I have some amazing women. And most of them are immigrants, actually. I've got a woman from India who's kicking ass in marketing. She's amazing. And her husband in the home can't deal with her being such a powerful woman. I mean, he wants her to be nice and what's the word? Submissive, I guess, in the home, and yet he wants her to go out and be a bulldog when dealing with the powerful men she deals with in marketing, and that's crazy making for her. That's real crazy making, and so she has difficulty with that. And then I have another client who's a immigrant from Korea originally, and she talks to her husband who's Caucasian in Southern California, and he is clueless to what she has to face all the time, being being a minority in a white male dominated field. He's clueless. He doesn't get it at all. Let me see. I know we're not paid the same. I mean, that's a no-brainer. And when I was growing up, where did women go? Nursing, teaching, social work. That was probably about it. So I come from that generation where that's where we went. I don't think we consciously, many of us, well, me, I wasn't conscious that was the tracks that were available. I think I'm older than most of you. Not sure. Probably not. I don't know, but most of you, yes. And so it was different back then, and so we are making progress. Absolutely. Anyway, that's where I'm coming from. I'm coming from my personal experience. I don't feel I was ever discriminated against. I come from a loud Jewish New York family. And because there were no male children, just my sister and I, we were not discriminated against as far as education or opportunity because there was no one better than us. We were it. And they loved us and they gave us, they were generous and they gave us and paid for our education. And I thank them for that. And allowing me to be myself. I mean, it was hard for them coming out as a lesbian back in the day, as we say. That was really hard for them. Now, gay people are transgender. They're on the chopping block now. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say. If you have any questions, I'm here. I'm so great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Madam Ali, can you hear me? Can you share your views?
And I've got a connection, thank goodness. Okay, so sorry I've missed a lot of it. My experience actually is that what we're role modeled is really important. And my mum was a teacher, then she was a head teacher, and then she was an officer inspector. But I think the way that you're role modeled and how your mum shows you kind of has a lot of influence over what you do. So essentially she worked full time, but she spent all her time when she wasn't working and teaching with us. And she's probably one of the main reasons why my focus was on education. But I'm an artist and a social entrepreneur, and basically I use creativity to engage and empower people. And I think the thing is that women have to pull to their strengths. So we're not like women, and it's good that we're not. And we need to realize that our creativity and our life force is the thing that makes a difference. And we are the rock bed and the foundation of families and communities. Even if we're, even if we're not seen, we're the ones that have the energy to keep going when we do our work and we're at home, that we make sure that everything's done no matter what. And I'm almost 53. I've got 2 teenagers and they are incredible and they are completely conscientious. They work hard. Since the first lockdown, which was a year ago, everyone's had a massive hit on their kind of emotional health because it's been hard. So I think the thing is that we have to kind of see equality. I looked at what equality means, and equality essentially is that everyone should be able to make good of their lives and their talents, so that everyone's got equal access, and that's what we need. And definitely in the UK, we're lucky in some ways because there's lots of opportunities, but there's also expectation, that we'll go to school and we'll study and we'll get degrees, and then motherhood comes in, and then there's a massive juggle. And I think that's what counts against us really, is when they're employing women, there's always potential that they'll leave and have families and they won't be as committed to the work as they are to their family. So I think and I got a social entrepreneur of 2013, and essentially I didn't even know what an entrepreneur is, but essentially what an entrepreneur is, as far as I'm concerned, is a journey of promise, so that you actually use your skills and talents as a service and to make a difference. And that's what I've done for 30 years. So I think the thing is that that's how you empower people, whether they're men or women, to use their skills and talents and make a difference in the world. So essentially, that's what I've done. That's what my children will do. And following your dreams is key. So my thing with my children is that I want them to achieve their dreams, because their gifts and talents are there for a reason. So yeah, so that's really, that's my viewpoint really. And the people that achieve their dreams do it because they never give up. So, and everyone's got a unique path, and, and women have to empower each other and empower their children and empower anyone, that's, that feels like they can't, because most people do jobs they don't like just to get paid. So essentially, wouldn't we have a wonderful world if we actually keyed into where our skills are? And that's what empowerment is and entrepreneurship. And I think what's happened with lockdown is essentially it's made us all go back to basics and reconnect to each other. And those reconnections, the people that are at the top of their field that are women need to help the other women, make them realize that there's a way through, so it's kind of, and that's essentially what we're here for, I think. So that's my piece.
Thank you. Even in my question is that even in present situation, we are observing that many women now in power, like in Germany, like Taiwan or Austria, even New Zealand, even country like Bangladesh. On the other hand, like many women also in corporation, but still, my personal feelings and belief and experience like that especially remote area, especially which is not like we have to touch the remote areas people, not only the people in the developed nations, the developing nations. There are many women, they actually face a lot of challenges, especially for education, for technologies, for what we are discussing about family lives. Even the society actually create a lot of barriers. Educated group of people or elite group of people, they have some freedoms, they have some choice, they can take many things. But my view is that how we can take initiative, especially for remote area women, like a village area women or something like that, how we can create a better world, how we can help them, how we can collaborate with them.
I
Yes,
would
Tina.
like to
So this
Okay.
is obviously the task of NGOs and groups coming together and systematically forming a way to educate these women, because these women don't have really difficult lives, because some of them walk for miles just for fresh water.
Yeah.
Okay, there is a tremendous shameful statistics of female feticide in states like Rajasthan, where parents are opting to abort the female fetus. And this has been systematically going on to such a degree that now in India, we've actually perverted the male to female ratio, where women are not, forget giving them, education. We are not even allowing them to be born. So, do you understand where this is? It's not so simple as to, how do we empower these women? How do you tell a man in a village in Haryana not to beat his wife to a pulp so she does not abort a fetus?
Yes.
Do you
We have
understand?
to find a way to work around it. Like find a workaround using as many alternative methods that we can think of.
Yes. Yeah,
Even
but you understand what I'm trying to
yeah.
say, that it's not about equal opportunities anymore, because forget the fact that they are not given education. Females are not being allowed to be born. So how do we change this? How do we tell a man that a daughter is not a burden? Because we've been taught that a daughter has to give dowry. And sometimes the father must sacrifice everything he has for the dowry.
Well, I
This
think
So if
people with the
dowry
son,
is illegal in
yeah,
India now. By the way, dowry is illegal in India.
yeah.
But
So
does it happen?
the technology that is used to determine the gender has to have regulations around it.
We stop that.
So
It's
yeah, it
illegal.
has to
It's
have, yeah,
illegal in India
yeah.
to know the
Okay.
sex of your child. When
But they
I had a
still,
baby,
but they're
I
still
did not
working around it. They're still working around it. So we have to
But
counter
do
it.
you understand that the child who is born, if she is a daughter, many men in Rajasthan will not visit their wives. In India, there's a tradition that the woman must retreat to her mother's house to have the child. Do you know that in many cases, the men will not go to the wife and the daughter if she's a girl?
It's very
How, okay,
perverted.
later on
That's
everything is all
perverted.
right, wife comes back in 21 days, but what of that wound, that deep spiritual wound of not being accepted?
This is a cultural problem that runs so deep.
We
And
have to solve this at really educate these men. And firstly, dowry is abolished, but is it illegal? No. It
we also,
happens every day.
we also need to
Uh,
empower women. The problem, I met
Yes,
one
and
of the
then
most,
empower women has become such a vague word in India that political parties are using this terminology to gain votes. But who empowers women?
I met,
The female feticide is still on, you know,
I'm
education is being denied,
in the
dowry is being
US,
asked,
in the
women are being
United,
burned.
in the United States, women have similar problems, but not the level of infanticide where they're actually aborting a child or killing a female child. Culturally, that makes the woman feel unvalued, but it makes the child disappear. I mean, it's horrific. But we also need to empower the women because women are too stuck, especially in the rural areas of Bangladesh
In
and India.
India, it's a stigma. If you're a divorced woman, it's a stigma.
I am a divorced woman of a Bengali,
It's a
and I know the
stigma here.
stigma.
You're divorced.
It
Forget
is.
Bombay. Everybody's divorced in Bombay. But if you really go to the rural side, it's a stigma.
It is.
Nobody's going to marry you again.
So the
Nobody's
best
going
thing
to
we
marry
can
you again.
do, here's where we need to do this. Here's where we need to focus. We need to empower entrepreneurship. Ali was right when she was talking about not really knowing what an entrepreneur is, but somebody that's creating opportunity. We need to lift up women in the most rural areas so that they have a voice and they have their own ability to care for themselves. I met Dr. Muhammad Yunus, and it's the most profound meeting of my lifetime. he taught us there is a simple solution to some of the most profound world problems. And creating women entrepreneurs from the most rural areas of Bangladesh, this is what Dr. Yunus does very well. And he's created a empowered force of women that he's built up, and they have built up others. This is what we need to do, create a cycle of building one another up. We are both reaching up.
I'll tell you a little thing. I'll tell you a little thing. Forget the rural women right now. My cousins have all been educated Ivy League in the US, but they don't work today. They raise kids. Their husbands work. They are, big guys in banks, but they don't work. And their parents have literally gone broke, sending them to Ivy League colleges in the US for what?
Right.
I had somebody, a neighbor of mine, who was burnt by her mother-in-law. Why? Because she gave birth to a baby girl. So this is the fundamental, place where we come from. It is different for educated women because we can speak up, we can go to the police and talk. A normal rural woman will not even want to talk to the police. Forget file an FIR.
This is not the reality, though, in particularly like Bangladesh is a country that has many problems with women's rights and women being victim. Social bullying, it's horrible. But one of the best solutions.
And about rape culture. I'm sure you know about how Delhi and places like that are like really dangerous for women.
The reason I am active in women's issues is because I'm a survivor of some of the most horrific things a woman could go through. And I believe that we can do more if we rise above this. We recognize it happens, and we don't get so enmeshed in the drama that we forget the solution. And that's what we need to do, is remember we have the power to overcome.
We have a lot of
everything.
PTSD as women, all of us. We have a collective PTSD, I think, that we suffer from. Trauma.
The challenge is to overcome it and to heal it.
Right. I am a direct victim of a violent crime. I survived a hostage situation. I was supposed to be killed. I know what it is to fight for your life. I know what it is to be beat up and bullied beyond death. I know what it is to look a man in your face and know he's trying to kill you. But I also know we are stronger than that, and we can overcome all that trauma. We can overcome all that drama, and we can lift one another up. If we focus more on the capabilities than the inequities, we can make a difference, and we should.
Thank you. Madam Viva. Yes.
Well,
I think you have some points.
Yeah, it's a skill search all the time in anybody's life. And so that's one of the things that I try to bring to the table all the time, is adding skills. And it sounds devious, but I think that, my theme is alternative methods and workarounds that will, if we collectively start thinking creatively like an entrepreneur who brings something new into society, that's what we're sparking with the entrepreneurial vibration, if you want to call it. And that mode, if we all just remember that we're very creative, we're creative with our children, we always have been creative on how to manage all of the life agenda that is the life agenda of a woman, and we can creatively change that. And you just have to really believe that the options will occur to you as you go through a stressor moment. The stressors do create innovation.
So, yes, Ali or Valerie, what do you want to add? Unmute yourself, please.
I just want to mention one company, and I guess it's in the Himalayas that the women are being empowered to make these bracelets. And I also thought that there was a lot of that going on in Africa, empowering women to, Brenda's gone. No, Brenda's there. Empowering women to farm and do all kinds of things so that they could bring resources and money and water and health and electricity to their families and everything.
Okay, Ali, can you hear me?
I can, yeah.
Ali? Yes,
Yeah.
yes. What do you want to add? Because
I
many
think
interesting come.
when when I did a little bit of research before I came on, and essentially there's a difference between entrepreneurship for survival mode and necessity, and apparently statistically, loads of the developing world, there's a huge percentage of women entrepreneurs because they're having to find ways of making things work, but they're in survival mode. And essentially in the West, we're lucky because essentially we're not in survival mode because we have food on the table and a roof over our heads, and it's kind of, so we've got a little bit more security. So essentially there's either a necessity in the way that our entrepreneurship works, or there's an innovation, or there's both. And essentially, as I deeply believe that if you think that you can do something and you believe it, you can achieve it. So essentially, and it is about that self-belief and making sure that you've got people around you that support you. And women are the best people to support each other because they're good at communicating. And essentially, I think that's why, as in management, women are good at articulating things, and they're good at multitasking as well, and having a balanced point of view too. So I think and the thing is that essentially most women, this is probably not, it's not a general, are actively trying to achieve something that enables everyone to be happy. And I think the thing is that everyone needs to have value, and it's kind of, the patriarchal society that we've come from essentially is all about dog eat dog and competition, and essentially if we looked at people have an intrinsic value, so they're integrated into a collaboration, wouldn't that be a better way of operating on any kind of level, whether it's in a school, in a family, in a big corporate, and it's kind of, that's the intrinsic value of people matters, and essentially that needs to come through. And it's not about fighting for leadership, it's about playing towards the skills and the skill set that you've got. So essentially, in an ideal world, that would be good. But I think that's what there is a distinct value between in being in survival mode and being in a position when you're innovating to make things even better.
Thank you. Madam Brenda, can you hear me? Madam Brenda, can you hear me? Okay, I directly want to go for the concluding remarks. I want to start from Tina because we learn a lot about especially gender inequalities and many important things which is really, really helpful. World Talent Economy Forums always try to make
Yes,
it
I
collaborate.
can.
Yes,
Can you
around the
hear me?
world. Yes. We are just in the
Are
go
you able
for
to hear
this.
me?
Yes. Madam Brenda, can you hear me? Okay, I directly want to go for the concluding remarks, and because we bring different information from different country, like India,
Yeah.
from USA, from Europe, from Middle East, many countries, they come up with
So,
your own experience and your own expertise. But we believe that we have to work together to fix this problem. It's not actually we need to do a teamwork, that how we can empower women through entrepreneurship. I think entrepreneurship is a good idea through different kind of like skill development programs and other things. And definitely those who join today in World Talent Economy Forum, we want to invite you all in our board as an advisor, as an organizer for our event and activities. And we try to engage with 100 different countries and more than 300 corporations around the world. And we want to bring all of the talented peoples, and we want to work for the global communities. So thank you for today's sessions and all of your support. I want to request for the concluding remarks for today. Faustina Hills. Yes.
so I absolutely love talking to Dawn and Valerie and Ali and Viva. It was just absolutely amazing. And all I want to say is that I'm so happy to see people like you who are not only interested in, in your country, you also want to help other women from other places, because a true feminist is not going to only be, uh, sticking with their own ethnic group. You have to really look at all women from all over the world. So yes, I invite you to, sometimes have a look at India if possible, and maybe, be in communication with me. So maybe we could work something out. Like, I also work in rescuing women. Because I work with an NGO that rescues the elderly from the streets, and a lot of that is women. And we also rescue sex workers. So that is a completely different side of the story that I don't want to get into. But thank you so much for being such wonderful, compassionate human beings, because this is what we need in the world. And this kind of support from people like you is what will help that woman in rural India to know that there's someone there with her. It's all okay to say that women need to be empowered, but who will empower that woman? There's nobody by her side. There's no one she can cry to. There's no one she can turn to. But just to know that, she will not even understand this conversation between us because it's in English. So, how do you get that woman to feel safe? And I'm sure you fantastic people, and you being from Silicon Valley, you will possibly think of some app, I'm hoping, which could help empower women, or, come up with some kind of creative ideas. Because Ali does some animation, I'm a writer, Valerie's got this amazing understanding of the human psychology, and Viva comes with her own, skill set. So I think if people, more and more people like this, we got together and we genuinely, with compassion and empathy, move towards bettering the lot of man, woman, and child everywhere on earth, I think the world will be a beautiful place like it was intended to be. So, thank you very much, and hope to speak to you again. It was so fantastic, this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. This is Simon. Yeah.
Sharif, I thank you so much. You are a curator of connected conversation. This is what I dub you.
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
have seen what you've done in industry and discussion, and it's powerful. Tina, as I think about you, I talked about the Cinderella story. We've got all the princesses, but they're all saved by a prince. We need a different story, and we need you to write it.
Oh, I'm trying in my own way to change the way that Indian women perceive motherhood, the way Indian women perceive a wife, because I'm a pretty unconventional wife, and although my husband is not completely Indian, he's half English, but and half Parsi, so he's not traditionally Indian. But I do see a change that's coming through. I do see a change. Would I be able to marry somebody who was a complete misogynist and a male chauvinist? I don't think so. I
I
really couldn't, because I have that self-respect. And like you, I have also been in extreme traumatic situations of,
mhm.
just being groped on the bus multiple times, being catcalled at, whistled
Yeah,
at, lewd comments passed all the time. I faced all of that, so I know what it is to live through that, to go through that. And I don't wish that on any of my sisters or any of our daughters
I
at all.
see so much good starting to happen. We just finished design of a website for an Indian author that he's amazing, and he wrote a book about um, Mahatma Gandhi and his role, but he's also written a romantic story about empowering women. And he's amazing. Doing this site for him, and everything that he does is about an amazing story and service to humanity. So all the proceeds of his book went to help cancer victims and to build up women. And his event on his last book was held in India, red carpet event, and the stars showed up to make a difference because he was making a difference. I think that that's what we do is we bring our best selves and My delight is helping give words and voice and presence to great ideas. Dr. Yunus sparked this for me when I met him some years ago, because he talked about, and he actually created opportunity for women that had nothing. I mean, nothing in the most rural areas. He did this in Africa. He did it in India and Bangladesh and across the United States, Canada, and Mexico. But it's not one person, it's many people and it's many needs.
Yeah.
We can do more. And it is from that place of meeting us where we are and taking the world where we want it to be. I think
Exactly. The Cinderella narrative needs to change. We don't need a prince to come and rescue us anymore.
we
Because
need to
that
summon
story
that.
is absolutely redundant. It didn't work for me. I'm sure it didn't work for any of you. And it's not going to work for any of our daughters or in the future. So,
I would have
we've got
long ago quit if I was waiting for my prince, because I haven't been very good at finding the prince, but I have been good creating a great story.
Okay. Thank you. Madam
No, but I
Viva.
think what you said was important. The buck stops here. Sorry.
Yeah.
We all have to continue the conversation between women, and also, that focused conversation and watchful approach with men. We are kind of being the referee here, but this is a position that we deserve, and I don't think we should let go of it,
We
So
deserve
that's
it and
really,
we wear it well.
yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good
Thank you.
point.
Yes, Valerie, what do you want to add as a concluding remark for today?
Is there something to add, really? I don't think so.
Okay.
I just want to say
Okay.
thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you to everybody. I love you. Let's continue.
Thank you. Ali.
Okay, I think that what we do is empower our children to think differently. And if we do that, because they're our future, and that there's much more equality now than there was. If you look at my son's just about to turn 16, and there's a mutual respect, between him and his girlfriend. So essentially, I think that there has to be less division and more understanding and more compassion, so that people think about each other, and that starts with the children. And empowering women to strength and way of being fulfilled other than just being parents. But I think we also need to realize that being a mother is probably the most important job we ever do. So and I think those motherhood should be recognized as something that counts too. So there you go. That's for me.
Thank you, Madam Ali. Brenda.
Yes, thank you. I think I missed a good part of the conversation towards the end, but thank you so much for the opportunity to share these ideas with these amazing women. I think in closing, what I would like to say, as I mentioned before, we need to not only talk about these things, we need to put that into action. We as women, we need to start holding each other's hand, but we need to also work with men as well to ensure that if it is a law, we enforce it. If it's a policy that needs to change, we change it. If it's the practice or the culture that needs to change, we change it. But we need to start with ourselves. We need to start with me as a woman, recognizing my value and living up to that value. And also in our household, making sure that what we teach our kids, be it boys or girls, ensures that it empowers them to be better men, and it empowers the girls to be women that are confident enough to know that they are worth it. They deserve everything that is as great as what men are getting. So it is not a competition, as it was said before. It is about everybody recognizing their worth and being able to bring something onto the table. We shouldn't try to be men when we are in the boardroom. We've got our own strengths as women, and we need to use that to be able to achieve success. Men shouldn't try to be women. It is that diversity when it comes together that makes us stronger as communities and as society. So tomorrow I'll be sitting in a conference, and it is a maiden conference about leadership. It is a coalition for women leaders. It is in Nigeria, one of the African countries that have been plagued with gender-based violence, inequalities, and all of that. But you've got a group of strong women that are saying, we are educated, we know what we are worth, and we will stand up and teach our sisters, our girl children, and also the men in our communities to be able to stand up for themselves, and we will do something to give back to the nation. So what I'm saying is, it is little efforts like that from each and every one of us that will make sure that it becomes a bigger thing that can change the future and make it a better future than what we've had before.
Thank you everyone for joining today's session. World Talent Economy Forum also believe in action. So we do not do this kind of roundtable discussion or research or academy. Beside that, we'll have to do more startup, more innovation, more entrepreneurial initiative. What Madam DC Simon discussed about Dr. Muhammad Yunus, his social entrepreneurship. Personally, I do engage with his initiative in different countries. Even Malaysia, he has engagement. So we need to go for more innovation, even though the social entrepreneurships and this microfinance has a lot of criticized because of high interest rate. But we need to go for more innovations, more expertise and more involvement. And that's why we developed this World Talent Economy Forum. Talent is everywhere. We need to connect the talents, and we need to team up together, and we have to work together. That is our objectives. So that's why we try to, yes, yes, everybody.
We all need to do this today. It's International Women's Day. I choose the challenge.
Okay, thank you. So I'm sure that everybody choose the challenge, and we can work together. We can develop different projects, and we can solve social problem and local problem. That is the objective of World Talent Economy Forum, and we have a great trust on talent economy. And I just want to add my personal things, like even I finished my PhD in glass ceiling factors. Even I am a man. I finish my PhD on gender issues and other things. I have some sort of publications and other things. This is different, but I love to take more actions. So hopefully, with all of your collaboration, it's Madam Viva, it's Tina, it's DC Simon, it's Valerie, it's Ali, it's Brenda, or Soha Akiki, or Dr. Sharita, everybody, we want to bring it one team. So we want to start our summit and innovation lab. So any of your idea, any of your thoughts that we can work together, we are open for that. And you think that this is your forum, World Talent Economy Forum is your forum. You are part of these things, and you are the stakeholders. You are the owner for World Talent Economy Forum. So that is the way we want to grow together. Thank you everyone.
Yay.
Thank you for joining
Thank you.
today.
Thank you, Sharif.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Yes. Bye bye. Take care. Yes.